This session is going to be all about the zygomatic bone. This is a small facial bone and it produces the prominence of our cheeks. So this zygomatic bone consists of three surfaces. First is the facial or the lateral surface, orbital surface and the temporal surface, and it has two processes. One is the frontal process, another one is the temporal process. Fine. Now it also possesses five borders. What are those? Antero-superior border, antero-inferior border, postero-superior border and the postero-inferior border. Along with that, the fifth border is the postero-medial border. This is the postero-medial border. So this is the antero-superior border. This is the antero-inferior border. This one is the postero-superior border and this is the postero-inferior border. The fifth one is the postero-medial border. Let us come to the surfaces. First of all, this is the lateral surface, or it is also called as the facial surface. Here, the lateral surface provides one foramen. There may be one or more than one. So this foramen is called as the zygomatico-facial foramina for the passage of the zygomatico-facial vessels and nerves. Fine. And just below this foramen, there is a, if you have this bone, you can feel this, there is a ridge. There is a ill-defined ridge for the attachment of the zygomaticus minor muscle in front and the zygomaticus major muscle behind. So the ridge below this zygomatico-facial foramen provides the attachment of the zygomaticus minor muscle in front and the zygomaticus major muscle behind. Now this lateral surface or the facial surface provides a projection that is just above the maxilla. This is a triangular projection. This is the triangular projection of the lateral or facial surface that is present just above the maxilla. This provides the attachment of the levator labii superioris muscle. Fine. So this is all about the facial or the lateral surface. Now come to the orbital surface. This is our orbital surface. Why orbital? Because this forms the anterior part of the lateral wall and the floor of the orbit. If we articulate like this, and first of all like with the maxilla and then like this, I think you can well assume the shape of the orbital cavity, and this surface, that is the orbital surface of the zygomatic bone, forms the anterior part of the lateral wall and the floor of the orbit. Fine. Now you can see that the orbital surface also possesses one foramen. Here this is called the zygomatico-orbital foramen, but this is actually a Y-shaped canal of which one limb has gone to come out through the lateral surface that I have already discussed earlier for the passage of the zygomatico-facial vessels and nerve, and another limb of Y has come out through the temporal surface by this foramen for the passage of the zygomatico-temporal vessels and nerve. So this zygomatico-orbital foramen is nothing but a canal that has Y shape, and it has two limbs, of which one comes through the zygomatico-facial foramen and another one comes through the zygomatico-temporal foramen. Fine. Now if you see on this surface closely that just below, just 1 centimeter below the frontozygomatic suture, that is the zygomatic bone articulates with the frontal bone, that is with the help of the zygomatic process of frontal bone, it articulates with the frontal process of the zygomatic bone like this. Here just 1 centimeter below the frontozygomatic suture there is one tubercle that is called the Whitnall's tubercle. If you feel it, palpate it, then you can find it. There is a tubercle that is named as the Whitnall's tubercle, and here this Whitnall's tubercle, at this point the four structures are attached. What are those? First one is the lateral palpebral ligament. Second one is the cheek ligament for the rectus lateralis muscle. Third one is the suspensory ligament of the eyeball, and the last but not the least, the aponeurosis of the levator palpebri superioris muscle. So this tubercle, this Whitnall's tubercle, just below 1 centimeter below the frontozygomatic suture is very important, because in here the four important structures are attached over it. Now come to the temporal surface. This is the third surface. This temporal surface is anteriorly it is rough and articular. This whole of this surface is temporal surface, but the anterior portion is rough, you can well appreciate it, and it is also articular. But the behind this surface, the posterior part of the temporal surface is smooth and non-articular. Fine. And this temporal surface actually forms the anterior boundary and the part of the lateral wall of the temporal and infratemporal fossa. And you can also appreciate here that this is the zygomatico-temporal foramen, as I have told that through this zygomatico-temporal vessels and nerves pass. So now let us start with two processes. First one, this is the frontal process of the zygomatic bone. This frontal process is stouter one compared to this process, stouter, and it is directed upwards and little bit backwards for the articulation with the zygomatic process of the frontal bone to form the frontozygomatic suture, like this, frontozygomatic suture. So this is the frontal process of the zygomatic bone, and the posteromedial margin of this frontal process articulates with the lateral wall or the lateral border of the orbital surface of the greater wing of sphenoid. It will be more clear when the sphenoid will be studied. Now let us start with this and also I have to mention here that this stouter frontal process helps in dispersion of the impact of the force that is being produced by the mastication with the help of the molar and premolar muscles, and that force actually the impact of the force actually goes to the frontal bone, and this stouter process of the zygomatic bone helps in dispersion of that impact of force upon the front. And it has another process, that is the temporal process, that is the shorter one and thinner one than the frontal process, and this articulates with its serrated border with the zygomatic process of the temporal bone. Here the zygomatic process is not complete because a part of it has been broken, but this should articulate like this to form the complete zygomatic arch and formation of the temporal fossa and the infratemporal fossa. Okay, as I have told that this temporal surface forms the anterior boundary and a little bit of anterior part of the lateral wall of the temporal and the infratemporal fossa. Now let us come to the borders. First one is the anterosuperior border or the orbital border. This is smooth and concave. Next is the antero-inferior border. This antero-inferior border, along with this anterior part of the temporal surface that I have told that is rough and articular, this part of the temporal surface along with the antero-inferior border articulates with the zygomatic process of the maxilla like this. Now let's come to the posterior-superior border. This is very conspicuous and this is very important for the site determination of this bone. As this border of the zygomatic bone preserves a shape of italic alphabet F, and this posterior-superior border, if traced above, it will continue with the posterior margin of the zygomatic process of the frontal bone, and below, if the posterior-superior border is traced below, then it will continue as the upper border of the zygomatic arch. Fine. And whole of this posterior-superior border provides attachment of the temporal fascia. Fine. Now the lower one, that is the posterior-inferior border, provides the attachment along its whole length, provides the attachment of the masseter muscle. Now come to the posterior-medial border. This posterior-medial border of the upper part of the posterior-medial border articulates with the lateral border of the orbital surface of greater wing of sphenoid, and the lower part articulates with the maxilla. As I have told that this anterior rough surface articulates with the maxilla, the area for the zygomatic bone, the zygomatic area or the process of the maxilla here. So the articulation with the borders are complete. Now you have to know that how to hold this bone in anatomical position. First, another point is there that just below this frontozygomatic suture on the posterior-superior border, there is one small tubercle that is called as the marginal tubercle. Here this is marginal tubercle on the posterior-superior border, and here on the orbital surface 1 centimeter below the frontozygomatic suture there is the Whitnall's tubercle. So these two tubercles are there on the zygomatic bone. So for the points of holding it in anatomical position, first point is the frontal process is stouter and thicker one. This should face upwards. This border that has the F-shaped italic alphabet F shape this border is the posterior superior border, and this lateral surface or the facial surface has convexity outwards and laterally. So the side has been determined because this frontal process has to be above and this border has to be on its posterior surface, posterior side. So this bone is of my left side. So as it is clear that this should articulate like this, like this. So this is of left sided zygomatic bone. So you should hold it in anatomical position like this, so that the lateral surface or the facial surface should be directed laterally, that is the outwards, this frontal process above, and this F italic alphabet F shaped border should be your posterior superior border. That is all. Thank you.